Alright, and here we are at the bottom of page 4, it's labeled here, in section 2.4. So 2.4, page 4b, let's do a couple more percent. Again, I'm presenting it a little bit different than the book. I'm looking at in terms of part over total is equal to percent over 100, okay? This piece right here will either have a percent sign or the word percent attached to it. The total always follows the word of. Of blank, there's your total, okay? The part is whatever is left over, okay? The last item. Not last in order, but it's the leftover item. Represents your part. Sometimes we know it, sometimes we don't. Out of these 3 pieces, you'll be given 2 of the 3 pieces. You have to find the third. In the first example we did in the previous video, we had to find the part. We may have to find the total this time, or we may have to find the percent. Each one is going to be different. And again, you're welcome to use the A equals P times B formula that the book uses, and that's how they connect it to this chapter on solving equations and rearranging formulas, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's look at what they give us. In number 50, 8 is 40% of what? Very first thing I look for is the percent. In this case, there it is, a percent sign. So that number right there goes over 100. Part over total equals percent over 100. Not sure if I've kind of mentioned this yet in Math 60, but when you're trying to memorize a formula, and this will be one of our first examples, part over total equals percent over 100, or if you're doing it the book way, A equals P times B, that's at the top of the page here, the notes you're looking at, highlighted in yellow. When you're trying to memorize a formula so that you have it ready to use on a test, every time you use it, say it, write it, you'll see it and hear it at the same time. So notice I wrote part over total equals percent over 100, and then I'm getting that memorized 4 times as fast, because I didn't just try to use it. I also wrote it, I saw it as I wrote it, I said it, and I heard myself say it. So I'm rehearsing it 4 different times besides just using it. It will get into your long-term memory that much quicker. Okay, so what's the next number that I see mentioned here? Or not the next number, I'm sorry. The next thing I look for is the of. So the of is the second thing I look for. There it is. There's my of. What comes right after it? It says of what, which means that they aren't telling us the total. So the total is unknown. So our total is down here at the bottom. It's part over total. Our total is our unknown here. It's our x value. Or use your favorite variable. Okay? The third piece, that third item, in this case it's 8. 8 is the one that we haven't attached a meaning to. Percent was attached to the 40. Of was attached to the what. 8 is what's kind of lingering out here by itself. That represents the part. So the leftover piece is our part. Okay, so now we've got a fraction equal to a fraction. 8 over x equals 40 over 100. Don't freak out that the variable's on the bottom. It's still one fraction equal to one fraction. I'm free to cross multiply. 100 times 8 is 800. X times 40 is 40x. Divide both sides by 40 to get x by itself. And you'll get an x value equal to 20. And so 8 is 40% of what? Well, 8 is 40% of 20. In other words, if I took 40% of 20, 0.4 times 20, I would get 8. Okay? So our answer here is 20. Pardon me. Okay, let's try another one. So the very first one on the previous video, top of the page of the notes you're looking at, the part was missing. What is 8% of 300? Then on the one you can see on the screen, the second one, 8 is 40% of what? The total was missing. So now it shouldn't be a big shock to us that this third example is going to have us try to find the percent. But let's go through our process like we did before. I'm working on memorizing this formula, so I'm going to write it and see it and say it and hear it every time I use it until I have got it totally confident. So part over total equals percent over 100. And just until I'm really great at it, I'm also going to give myself some notes here. This is the first thing I check for. It either has a percent sign or it'll have the word percent next to it. This is the second thing I check for. It'll be the thing following the word of. And then the third thing will be this leftover item, whether it's a number or the unknown, that'll go in the part spot. So I start here at percent, and this time it's not a sign, it's a word. What percent? I don't know the percent. That's going to be my unknown. X over 100 is my unknown. Then the second thing I look for is the word of. There it is. Of comes right before the number 90. This represents our total. Of always comes before the total. So our total is 90. The leftover piece, this 18 is our leftover, so it becomes our part. Leftover is equal to the part. And now I've got 18 over 90 is equal to x over 100. I'm going to cross multiply because I've got one fraction equal to one fraction. That's when you want to cross multiply. 100 times 18 is 1800 equal to 90 times x is 90x. I solve this by dividing both sides by 90. And then x is equal to 20. And in this case, I was solving for percent, so my answer needs to be a percent, 20%. I don't convert it, I just add the percent sign. I've already found the value per 100. I found that 20 per 100 represents 18 for every 90. Okay, that's what that means. It's a ratio. And so we've already found per 100, we just have to add the percent sign, 20%. Okay. You try either 52 or 56 or both if you're feeling up to it. You might notice what is different is the decimals are thrown in. It doesn't change how you do the problem. Okay, you can still set up a proportion, one fraction equal to one fraction. If you've been practicing it using the A equals P times B, which I'm happy to show in class, bring those questions. Say, hey, could you do that using the book method? I'd be happy to do it. Just making a note of that here. Okay, in the meantime, press pause and try one or both of these and then come back and see how you did. Alright, let's see how we did. Pause it if you need some time still to work these problems, because here come the answers. Number 52, 32% of what number is 51.2? That number turns out to be 160. For 56, what percent of 7.5 is 0.6? That percent is 8%. All right, we'll see you on page 5.